Good afternoon. It is March 4th, 2022, and today, really, we're just looking at a range day. This looked like it was a potential channel. You can see the midline right there. That looks pretty accurate, to be honest. But it wouldn't have really helped you. Just told you that there's a downward bias. There's a few good trades in here, and a couple good aggressive ones that I personally liked. But pretty choppy day. I didn't really like anything in here. This was super congestive, and I just didn't like it. Like you can see here, little micro range, micro range, micro range. So, but when we break out to the low side and then the high side, usually what I've observed is that typically means that the range is like fading out. So it might look like that at this point. And this to me looks like a double top, even though this is a crazy new high. Really, this looks like a triple top. So the count resets, first entry, failed second entry. So I like that. Then we bounce at a similar level to here, and it's just chopping back and forth. And to me, that doesn't look any good. So this again looks like a double top, and you get a first entry, failed second entry long right there, and it just looks like a really good setup. We have a spike and channel down, and then the first break of that. So I like that. Looks like we get two measured legs, and then here we get a first entry, second entry. So really, I mean, this could just be like a channel like that, maybe. Yeah. Then you get the overshoot. So that, if you're looking at it like that, that might be a little bit aggressive. You can see we get two legs of correction for a pretty good sell-off right here. No entries. Technically, this would be a failed second entry long, but it's going into the lows and it's too far from that EMA. So I don't know what this craziness is. I didn't even look at the news items today. So maybe this was, I don't know, related to that. I actually kind of liked something here. Oh, this entry right here. Okay, yeah. So we break out, and again, that sometimes that will mean that the range is starting to like fade out. So here it's technically this is a lower high, so you get a first entry, failed second entry. But that's aggressive. You're going into these lows. That's a lot of support, but it just looked appealing to me. Here we get a second entry short, and I think at this point we're making lower lows. I think that's a nice trap, and that turns out to be a spike and channel down. And this right here is technically a failed second entry, so I should mark that. That's according to the rules. There's definitely room to scalp out too, so I think you can mark that. We arrive at these overnight lows right here, and you get a really good setup for a second entry long that's also a failed second entry short, and it's off the trend channel, so that's a great setup. I think you got to take it. And here you get a first failed second entry right here. They tick higher. The people who jumped the gun too early, they trap those people out, and then you get a second entry long. But you're going into those swing highs, so it's a bit aggressive, and that looks like a bunch of overlap right there. And come down here, and it rockets up, and you get a first entry, second entry long. That's a beautiful setup, guys. That's beginners, even beginners know what these beautiful setups look like. But the hard part is being patient. That's at like 3 hours after the open. Can you wait 3 hours for a perfect entry? It's tough. And you get a higher low right here that gets you just a scalp. And that's just congestive after that, and you can't really enter any of this. I mean, you might think, oh, let's go short, but it's just so congestive. First failed second entry, too far from the EMA. come up here. I'm guessing that this was like a break right there. Move to two legs up to a new high, and it reverses. Technically, this is the failure, but you got that overshoot right here, and it looks a little risky. But then I looked at this as like a double bottom. First entry failed, second entry short, not a failure. Second entry short. You can see measured legs. Let me remove that though. That gets you a nice move down. And this failure comes far from the EMA, but that's right off that trend channel. It confirms the trend channel. You might consider that. It just looked so good. But if you're patient, you get a second entry short right here. That's very aggressive too, though, because look at that congestion. And this looked like a breakout pullback, as well as a failed second entry short. Looks like, yeah. So I did like that, though. It just felt really good. It looked real good in real time, even though that looks like one leg up. So technically this is the failure, but it's really, I just looked at it as like a first entry failure. The real failure comes right here. But now I'm looking at it, and it's just hard to know that that's the trend channel. I mean, this midline looks pretty clear, but I don't think you would have known that until right here. And then when it makes this lower high, that really confirms it, and that's a failure. You might even go on the engulfing bar back to the EMA. But this lower high closes beneath the EMA. I think you got to take that. And a bunch of longs probably got trapped there thinking after this leg that we're trying to go higher. But they just didn't have their trend channel drawn. And then you get this failed second entry long right here off the trend channel. But you can see we bounced at this level of support a bunch of times. We haven't hit the bottom of this trend channel. So it's getting aggressive at that point. And then you have a second entry long right here near that support level, but that's aggressive too. I'm not even going to go over my trades today. I'm just going to, I just took too many, and I'm going to cut back on that. So that's what I saw today. I hope everyone had a great week and a great day. Have a blessed weekend. I'll be back next week.